Holy God, I felt so sorry for the Hardys. Matt and Jeff Hardy at this point in their life, at the ages that they are, whatever their ages are, and their status in the wrestling industry. Jesus Christ, they don't deserve what they got on this program. They had a match. They are were the TNA Tag Team Champions coming in, facing the NXT Tag Team Champions, a team called DarkState. Apparently, there's 4 of them. Only 2 of them ended up wrestling. They picked the wrong 2. They had to have. What the fuck? Have you seen a heel team that has been less ready for television in the last several years than DarkState?
I have not been a big Hardys fan, but they were not the problem here. And DarkState was not very impressive.
They were in a very dark state.
Florida.
I will say you can't rely on the crowd reactions here because they were at the Performance Center. It's their friends and family crowd. So they were liking everything. But the Hardys are over. I think we can all agree on that. But even the crowd here couldn't. There was some roars and some chuckles when the first thing that happened was the 4 heels came out and just got in the ring and attacked the Hardys. And then within seconds, the Hardys turned it around and just cleared the whole ring out of all 4 heels. And then as the 4 guys were surrounding them, they just jerked one guy in and the referee kicked 2 of them out and the referee rang the bell and they started the match. And okay, so then I waited for a while to hear the announcers say the names of the 2 individual guys in DarkState, and after a while, I forgot to pay attention. So I'm not sure what. Osiris and Lennox, I jotted it down. The first heel double team, they grabbed Jeff Hardy. And instead of grabbing him by both arms and shooting him off into the ropes where he would come back and they would do something like you normally do, shoot the guy forward, they grabbed him by both arms and they shot him backwards where he was backing into the ropes. And that doesn't really work anyway, right? You can't get any fucking oomph into a backhanded arm shoot off. But as he's coming back, the heels, instead of going for like a double elbow or a double clothesline or what, they both started doing something different. One was going for a gut shot and the other would look like he was going high. And Jeff just kind of ran in and squinched his face up. And when he felt contact on his midsection, he took a bump. The other guy had never even thrown anything. So he decided, since he didn't get to hit him the first time, as Jeff took a bump and sat up and was like selling, the other heel went for a fucking leg drop on a guy that's sitting straight up. And he just dropped flat of his ass right behind Jeff. Missed completely, never touched Jeff's body in any fashion. Just leg dropped the mat. And then Jeff heard the big bam behind him and thought he'd kicked him or something and took a big bump back off his ass. Like, oh, golly. What the fuck? Jeff didn't move. When the guy went for the leg drop, Jeff was sitting there and he was still sitting there when the guy hit the mat. He just missed a stationary sitting target. And I wrote, Osiris might not have made OVW TV at this stage of his game. Lennox is green, but he's got some potential. But then they got the heat on Jeff. Matt made a comeback. And they stopped him and it went back and forth. And the heels were going to go for the doomsday device on Matt. And Osiris had Matt up on his shoulders. Good God. For some reason, as Lennox is going to the top rope to come off with a clothesline, Matt is struggling, trying, like in a working way, trying to punch the guy in the head or get off his shoulders or whatever. And maybe it was going to be a deal. Whereas they got set up, Matt struggled back off of him and did something. I don't know. Because as Osiris was turning Matt around and Lennox was getting set, Osiris just suddenly let Matt's legs go. And Matt he grabbed the guy to camel clutch trying to hang on to his back because he was about to go over backwards like, what the fuck? And he grabs the guy under the chin and that throws Osiris all off and Matt's struggling like he's trying to ride the bull at Gillies. And Osiris's legs buckled with the weight going sideways and they fell in a heap. And Matt caught onto the top rope and just punched Lennox, who was on the turnbuckle. And then gave a twist of fate to Osiris, a twist of fate to Lennox, tagged Jeff, swanton off top, 1, 2, 3. Good Lord. I always told guys when they were having dark matches, tryout matches, when they were doing seminars, whatever, degree of difficulty of 5 and an execution of 10 will get you a job, not the other way around. Oh, Brian, your thoughts?
Well, again, you haven't seen the Hardys in a while. We last saw them in AEW, and it was what it was, and we talked about it in real time. This is your first exposure to the DarkState. It sounds like you don't even think they're ready for a dark match.
It's a dark day. Yeah, that was rough. It was rough.
What does that tell you about the WWE? I mean, because again, this is developmental still, even though there's people that are ready for the main roster if the time were now, there's still a lot of people that it's almost like they're in wrestling school. What did you think of in terms of what this says about the training system there?
Well, that's the thing. Well, it's not necessarily an indictment of the whole training system, but these guys were the tag team champions. Now the Hardys are dual champions. They've got both, and they'll do something with that, I'm sure. But the fact that these guys, I never put the belts on anybody in OVW, any tag team that could not have outworked these guys. And we had 25 or 30 guys in a fucking warehouse. And they've got an entire training program with unlimited budget for all intents and purposes, especially compared to what anybody else has ever worked with. There's got to be a better tag team. Unless these guys just had nervous breakdowns and fell apart because, well, they're on national TV every week. That's the problem. Developmental doesn't need to be on national television because you see guys having matches like this. And those fuck-ups were shit that you've seen a number of OVW television programs. Guys would miss shit or show greenness, but there was no obvious fuck-ups to the level that we're going to talk about here again in a second, that were on this program. It's being broadcast to the nation. And these guys, it's like, showing the fucking guys with their pants down before they're dressed is like, they're not ready for this. They're not ready for a wide audience. Need a lot of work.